I'm Sally-Shakti, and this is a writing and thriving practice called Writing the Wheel of the Year. And it's a practice for today, Monday, the 4th of April, 2022. We're just coming out of the energy of the new moon in Aries. The moon is now in Taurus, a very earthy astrological sign, a very earthy energy. I would like to share with you right now that I am finding this process of making videos really challenging. I've got so much resistance to doing this. I don't think it's the videos themselves. I think it's to do with social media in particular. I find it really difficult to use the technology on Facebook to make a live video. So this is not live because I'm still finding it really challenging to do that. I think it's got more difficult to make live videos over the last couple of years. The Facebook app crashes my phone, and Facebook software won't work with my new Mac to go live unless I install lots of other technological platforms. So I find that really stressful, really challenging. And I really don't know if this is the format for me. I've tried this a few times and I'm not sure if it's working. So I may go back and reconsider how I do this and what I do. Also, I'm experiencing the energy of the new moon and my bleed, which is great because for a long time my bleed was out of sync and I was bleeding with the full moon. Now I'm bleeding with the new moon, which is great. That's how I like to be aligned. That's how I like to be synchronized energetically. But it's also not a really great day for me to embark on a new process and practice of visibility and going live. So I definitely get to look at how I do this and what I create and how I share it, because I really want to share my work, my creativity, my process, my practices, and what I've learned and what I can offer. I really want to share that with more people. And I'm really not sure if this is the right way for me to do it. So I'll keep you posted on that. And I will find a way that works for me. It might not be live though. And it might be better for me to create the content when I'm in the right energy to do that and when I have the time to process that with the tech and post it. Because yeah, this feels really stressful and really challenging. But I'll keep working with that and see what feels right and what feels best. So today's practice is a new moon practice. And I just want to work with that Taurus energy. That new moon that we're in now, and it's just gone into Taurus. So the moon is getting more energy, more full. It's beginning to, it's the first phases of a waxing moon. And so we have some energy building, and it's an earthy energy today, this new moon in Taurus. So there are two practices that I would like to suggest and share with you. One is still working with the energy of the ritual energy of release that is still with us, I think, because there's a lot of planets currently in Pisces, the last sign of the zodiac, and we're just moving out of Pisces into Aries, the first sign of the zodiac. So we're in a phase of release. that's the practice that I'll share with you. And then I will recommend a practice for carrying forward new energies, especially in the material aspects of your life. So because this is a earthy energy, I'm going to work with a very simple material practice. Many of you, if you have been with me for a while, will have seen and done this practice before, but it's always worth coming back to, especially I feel when I'm in a particular energy like this, that requires me to move something through physically. And one of the best ways that I know how to do that, other than physical movement, which is also a big part of my writing and thriving practice now, is to get that physical movement out onto the page. I'm just looking around to see if there's a tissue somewhere in here. There is. I'm just going to grab a tissue. So, when my energy is feeling difficult and stuck like this, and I need to move it through physically, the best writing practice I have for that is to physically get that energy out onto the page and to move it through. So I'm going to share that with you now. I'm going to tilt the camera down. I can take the blur off of this. I'm going to tilt the camera down and show you my page. I don't know what the angle's like on that. At some point I'll get some better tech, but it's not going to happen anytime now. It may be soon, but not right now. So I think this might be the first time I've really shown this writing practice on camera like this. So it's nice to share it with you this way, even if it looks like a bit of a funny angle. I think it looks okay. So my real foundational writing practice, and this is great for a Taurus energy, this is really earthy, just to move the pen in any direction around the page and really not to overthink it. I use this often as a way to start a writing practice. You can see that this pen's not always coming out onto the page, but here we go. Typically, it's actually quite good to just use an old biro for this, so that I can just get plenty of ink out onto the page. But the real purpose of this is to move that energy through physically. You can see, hopefully, and sense that, you know, there's a really earthy, material, grounded connection between my hand and the pen and the page and the physical movement. And this is just really physical. And it's such a shame that this pen's not really fully complying, because this practice is really a process of just continually moving my hand and making marks on the page without really needing to overthink it or overdo it. I really encourage this as a foundational writing practice. I do this in preparation for writing to help free my mind before I start to write. And I also do this as a therapeutic practice to support me to release emotional trauma and blockages, energetic blocks, shift old behavior patterns that I'm ready to release and let go. I did do a burning ritual on the dark moon, which is one of my favorite dark moon writing rituals. And this is more earthy. That's a fire ritual. This is more of an earthy practice. This is a more physical, material practice, just moving those energies, moving that energy out through my hand, through the pen, and physically onto the page. And actually, because this pen is not really, it's not inking in every scratch that I make, it's kind of interesting too, and it's inviting me to press harder, to touch harder. So see, now I'm doing the practice, I'm really enjoying sharing this with you. I would really like to actually find a way to do this more frequently, share this. So we'll figure it out. I think what I would like to do is just make a video every week and post it, and then figure out how to go live later if I want to do that. So it's interesting, there's a really frustrating energy in me because the pen's not really working properly and the technology is not really working how I wanted it to. But that's great for getting this physical energy out onto the page. I'm really just supporting myself to help it move through my hand, out of my body, onto the page. And it's really quite cathartic and releasing. And this is a practice that I really encourage. It's really the foundation of my writing and thriving practice because it supports me in so many ways, emotionally, energetically, physically, and intellectually as well, because it does, you know, if I wasn't talking whilst I was doing it, I don't really need to be thinking. I can let my mind wander and give space for what wants to arise, for what wants to come up. If I'm preparing for a piece of writing, then I can give space for ideas to come to the surface that might not otherwise if I was trying to overthink it. It's like really embodying my energy of frustration, actually, this practice today. The way that I'm really having to scratch this pen out onto the surface. And there's a part of me thinking, this is a really nice pen. This is one of my best pens. Why am I using it for this? But that's what I have to do, you know, that's what I get to do. This is also one of my favorite notebooks. It's really beautiful. My partner bought this for me or as a Valentine's gift, actually. It's really beautiful and unexpected. But this is what I do. I can't be precious about the pen I'm using and the notebook that I'm working into, because that's what stops me getting anything done. It's too much perfectionism and I end up not writing anything. I do have one really nice pen. It's a glass. It's one of those Venetian, forget what the name of it is. It's one of those Venetian glass pens. And I wouldn't use that for scribbling like this. It's completely made of glass with a glass nib. We use that just for writing nice things like affirmations and creating sigils. Sometimes it's quite hard to write with, actually, because I have to keep dipping it back in the ink. But you know, anything else, that's another one of my real, you know, kind of tips for writing, really, and foundational practices is don't be, for me, not to be precious about the materials. And that really goes for all of my writing practice, you know. Don't be precious about the book. Don't be precious about the pen. Unless it really is a really, really nice pen, then use a different one. But otherwise, yeah, I find that if I want to keep the book nice, or if I want to keep that pen perfect, or I've got one notebook for something and another notebook for something else, and haven't got the right notebook with me when I want to write, then all of these things really just prevent me from writing and from being in my practice. So I've learned not to be precious about the materials. And the same goes for when I'm writing poetry. You know, my poetry is created through found text and collage. And so again, it's about being with the messiness of it. My practice is a really embodied practice. And, you know, I think part of the thriving part in writing and thriving is definitely physical practice and embodied practice. That's something I'd like to share a lot more of. We can thrive through the writing as well, for sure. But part of the thriving is the physicality and the embodied elements of practice that I incorporate into my life, and that really support me as a writer and support me in my self-development. So just moving this energy through onto the page, this earthy material energy with the waxing moon in Taurus. It's been quite hard work to get this out onto the page. Sometimes I like to then just keep going, layer up the page with as much energy as I want to put into it. This physical energy, just moving this energy out through my body. What I'm actually going to do with this piece, feels finished now. What I'm actually going to do with this piece is, because I really, really want to just use my body more. So I'm going to tear this page out. And this is something I was talking to a friend about just the other day. So what I'm just going to do with this now, actually, is just, I'm going to just take this into one hand, and I really just want to crunch this up. Maybe you might want to tear yours into pieces, or like just do something really, really physical with it. And I just want to I just want to kind of use my body to do something really, really physical. Just get some physical energy into that. Maybe like, there's ways you can do this, like this practice is like scrunching it up with one hand as much as possible. And then I'm going to use the other hand to unscrunch it as much as possible. So you can really focus on what I'm doing. And then I'll take it back and scrunch it all up again. I feel like I need to really move that energy physically through my body. I'm just going to actually make this as soft as possible, and that's going to be what I do with this practice. Just working with that physical energy, moving it through my body. There are ways that you can work with more with earth energy with this. Go out and bury it in the ground, somewhere where it will decompose, put it in the compost. Compost is a great idea, actually, because the energy that we're working with right now, this at the beginning of this new cycle, this new astrological and lunar cycle, is this energy of, releasing what's complete. We're releasing what we're ready to let go of. And I guess, for me, the idea of composting, using that energy to help move us forward into new life and new growth and what is coming next. So what I could recommend, maybe I'll even do that, is I'm going to now use this. I'm going to use this page, reuse this page to set it blur off again now. I'm going to reuse this page to write some affirmations for this new cycle. And again, I actually feel quite vulnerable. I've shared this kind of stuff before. I'm really feeling very vulnerable with this right now. I'm going to write some affirmations on here for the astrological cycle to come. So that can be, I'm setting this intention for the lunar cycle this next month, and the seasonal cycle as well the next year. In fact, just this morning I was saying that I'm setting this intention for the year. So my intention for this year is to become more visible with my practice, to share my work with more people, and to create a community of writers who are writing and thriving. So that is an intention that I've already set today. I'm going to write those intentions onto this piece of paper, and I'm going to be using this as compost to release the old energies that have been holding me back, keeping me stuck, keeping me small, those self-limiting beliefs and limitations, challenges, and releasing those energies and allowing the new energy to come through. And so composting this aspect of my life to allow it to be reborn into new and more nourishing energetic forms in my material world. So I'm going to write on this now. Okay, what did we say? My intentions for, I'm going to write this. Pen. Sally-Shakti's intentions for the 2022-23 astrological cycle. Aries 2022 to Aries 2023. And beginning with the new moon in Aries, lunar cycle, April 2022. The next new moon is the new moon in Taurus, which is on the 30th of April. That'll be a black moon because it's 2 new moons in the same month. So yeah, maybe we can do a powerful ritual practice for that too. Yeah, sorry, my mind's just going now. Okay, my intentions are to be visible with my writing, my work, my creativity, and my practice. Second intention is to share my practices with as many people as possible. And the third intention is to create a community of writers who are writing and thriving. Okay, so there's my compost. Got the old energies there, feeding, releasing those old energies. I guess really releasing what's stuck, what's energetically stuck in those old energies, and feeding, allowing, what am I trying to say? Releasing, when I release energy through my body, when I do this as a physical practice through physically embodied practices like shaking and emotional release, and bioenergetics and yoga, I create more space in my body because I've moved some stuck energy through and out of my body. And that's what this writing practice supports me to do as well, in a more gentle way. It supports me to move old stuck energies out of my body onto the page. That creates more space for more energy, for more life force to flow in my body, in my container, in my energy field. And so what I'm doing with this piece of ritual, this piece of composting, is to move those old energies, any stuck energies, out through my body onto the page. And then with the space that's created and with the new energy that is available to me in my body, in my energy field, because I've done the work to move out the old energies and let go of the stuck energies, I now have more energy available to me, new energy available to me. And so with that new energy that's available to me, I set my intentions to create new forms, to create new behaviors and new intentions and practices in my life, through my body, through my energy field. And this piece of compost is designed now to use the energies that I've freed up from, to recycle the energies that I've freed up from the stuck energy, and plow that back into new intentions, new behaviors and new practices for this new cycle. So that's the practice that I'm sharing with you today. And I hope that you also will find that supportive, and that, yes, we will be finding more ways to collaborate, and I'll keep you updated with what those ways are and how that will best serve me and you within my community. Sending you lots of love, and thank you. Thank you for sticking with this.